Hello, Geminis. Welcome to Souls Intersect. I have your December of 2016 Intuitive Tarot reading. I'd like to let you know that I'm offering some promotions this month in celebration of the winter solstice. I have all of my readings on promotion currently, which I haven't done before, and all of the details are listed below, including the link to my site. Also, I'm going to be putting out annual 2017 readings for each sign, so keep your eyes peeled for that as well. All right, I'm going to take you through the cards. On the top left, we have the Ace of Cups, and then the Five of Wands in the center, and the Star to the right. Then in the center, the Blasted Beach, which is like the tower in this deck, Temperance, and the Five of Cups on the right. And then in the bottom row, the Two of Swords, the Hermit, and the Three of Pentacles. Then on the bottom of the deck was the Empress. All right. So two very powerful female cards with Temperance and the Empress. I'm definitely sensing this idea of relying on your inner gifts and sharing them with others. And definitely a lot of motherly energy. I feel like for those of you with children, December is going to be a really special month for connecting with your children, making headway possibly on something that maybe has felt stagnant. That Ace of Cups, I'm definitely sensing in relation to children, and a new opening, like a new emotional release or emotional opening in relation to children. It could also be a month when you give birth for some of you. Temperance next to the Five of Cups, and also with the Five of Wands above it. I sense that there's been, again in relation to kids, but not necessarily. Some of you do not have kids, and this could be in any area of your life. Some conflict, so some things that maybe some minor disagreements, but something minor but that's hit you on an emotional level. That's why it feels most strongly in relation to kids, but it could be anything. And my sense is that there's been some lessons around that. I feel like whatever the conflicts are, they've been happening for a reason, and it's been happening so that you and the others involved are learning some things about each other and about yourselves. But I do feel that calming down. I'm feeling Temperance in this case as kind of a tempering of this emotional turmoil, or this fiery turmoil with the Wands and the Cups card. But again, with that Star there, it just feels to me like whatever has been going on was meant to happen, and it feels very fated. I'm also sensing with the Hermit card coming through, especially next to this Two of Swords, that some looking inward to assess what it is that you might have learned from this situation. So essentially there's this overall energy of relief coming. So we have this beautiful Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups with the Tower or the Blasted Beach feels like a really positive omen. It feels like a sudden release, and a lot of divine feminine energy is in this reading, and relief for whatever these minor conflicts might have been. But because the relief does feel like it might come suddenly, you may miss what it is that you really learned or gained from the situation. And I think that's why the Two of Swords and the Hermit are both coming through, because both are about going inward and trying to find an answer. And so I think that not only is that useful so that you can understand what it is you learned and hopefully apply it to your life, but I feel like there's something else there with it. So the Three of Pentacles coming up too is really showing me that not only can it be gaining some knowledge that you could apply to future things, but some idea might come through. So for example, if it's something with kids and you find out what you learned is something new about your children and how they cope with something, or how you cope with something, or how you interact with them, or something like that. That could be the lesson, and it seems really important. But the Three of Pentacles is also telling me that there may be some idea there. So you may come up with a plan to, avoid it from happening in the future, or to somehow apply even weaknesses, but weaknesses and strengths, applying those things to some new plan, some new idea, building something. Okay. So I'm also sensing some romantic energy. I definitely feel most strongly that energy with children, and then a lot of divine feminine energy. But there's also some romantic energy coming through. And in this case, with the Ace of Cups and the Blasted Beach, I feel a new opening in relation to love. But what's really nice about it, because I am feeling a lot of this strong feminine energy, it feels like a lot of healing, and a lot of you, Geminis, using your personal gifts. So what I'm picking up from that is, I almost sense that you, because this month feels like it's really about you, and assessing some things, and gathering some things, and some things calming down, that you may actually be, some of you may be in a position where you're kind of going about your business and dealing with all of that, and then suddenly you meet someone, there's a connection made, and it feels romantic, although for some of you it could be an important connection for some other reason. But it's one of those things where, and I don't believe this is always true, but that cliche where people say, something comes when you're not looking for it, definitely not always the case. But this month it feels like that could happen for some of you, because it seems like your focus is going to be on how busy you are, children if you have them, projects if you don't, or both, and just kind of dealing with the aftermath of whatever these two conflicts have been that have been eating away at you a little bit, because that Five of Cups can be kind of painful. It can be some remorse and some emotional upset. So it's like you're focusing on that and trying to heal from it and trying to manage it, and then something comes through kind of in the background. It feels like a very quiet entry. It feels very subtle. And it's interesting because we don't really have a person here. I don't sense the energy of the person. It's more about the introduction or how it might enter into your life. So it's also possible that you don't actually meet the person this month that you're meant to make the connection with, but somehow something comes into place where it sets you up for potentially meeting someone in the coming weeks or months. So this could look like, you starting a new project, even something like you starting to visit a new area. If you do work in a coffee shop, going to a different one, moving to another part of town, even moving away. But that feels more planned, because it does seem like something sudden. Like you may suddenly decide to do things a little differently in some way, use a different service for something you do with your business or work or something like that. Take a different route. And I feel like it's setting you up for new energies to come through. So it may not actually be the person coming through. If it is the person coming through, it still feels very subtle to me. So it feels like it might just be the beginnings of it this month, because you are focused on a lot of this other stuff, and it feels like it's meant to be that way, where you're kept busy for a reason, and in being busy and some of this turmoil calming down, there's a lot of healing to be had in that. I really feel that very strongly with both the Empress and Temperance, and even the Hermit, because that kind of isolation or meditation or asking for answers doesn't necessarily have to be about learning. So it could be about healing. We go into meditation, there's the type where we're looking for messages directly, information, and then there's the type where we're just looking for healing, looking to relax. So even the Hermit card can really bring in that healing. And of course the Star being in your reading overall, it just feels like this very high vibrational divine month, or although there's turmoil and conflict, it just feels like everything's kind of meant to be happening and is healing and is really setting you up for some other things to fall into place, some other new beginnings to happen, to fall into place. So if anything does take place where you kind of feel like the rug is pulled out from under you, because that Blasted Beach Tower card can have that impact sometimes, it's not really feeling destructive. It's just so beautiful next to this, or below this Ace of Cups. And it feels more like an introduction of something. So even if it does sort of feel like it leaves you on shaky ground, remember that it's just meant to heal and to build up that foundation better. And also just don't ignore anything that might feel more invasive or upsetting like that, if it's something that's sudden, because it might actually be bringing in something really beautiful. All right, Geminis, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at soulsintersect@gmail.com. Thank you.